Everyone's got their own big three of Cartoon Network. For people born in the 90s, it was Dexter's Laboratory, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Johnny Bravo. Don't get me wrong, this could alternate for a bunch of other cartoons too, but I'd be here all day if I mentioned all of them. But then we got to the 2010s, and it was clear what the big three were. That was Adventure Time, known for its wackiness and cool lore. There was Regular Show, with its hilarious characters that pushed the boundaries of Cartoon Network. And then there's the Amazing World of Gumball. Do you know the number of people I've spoken to in this era who've told me that they never gone to this show? More than I'd like. And with the announcement that it's returning in the form of a new show called The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball, I decided to take a look back and determine why it's so popular and why it's such a unique and special show. You see, all three major shows of the 2010s had one key thing in common. Their main characters were duos, Mordecai and Rigby, Finn and Jake, and in this show it was Gumball and Darwin. The dialogue and bullshit that came out of these guys' mouths was so hysterical, and if you were to ask me, they are the funniest duo on Cartoon Network.
Did he make any spelling mistakes?
No, but he did say who instead of whom.
Call it. I think you'll find it's whom.
And while they do some of the stupidest, most ridiculous shit, they have a very wholesome relationship, not just by their everyday interactions, but also in their origin story, which I'll touch more on when we get to the story section. Their youngest sister Anais plays off of them really well, being the smartest character in the show despite being the baby of the family. Most of the time she outsmarts Gumball and Darwin, but because she's a kid, they get the better of her sometimes too. Nicole Watterson is the alpha of the family. She's the breadwinner, the one who always gets shit done, and even has her deranged moments. There was one episode where she ditched Gumball in the desert because he didn't believe in himself. If you disobeyed her, well, she'll just pull a Ghost Rider and give you the penance stare.
Or what?
She's probably the most overpowered character in the show, and also a loving mother. Then we get to Richard Watterson. He's the laziest in the family, who eats an absolute shit ton of food, but that's not all there is to him. Some episodes highlight just how loving and caring he can be as a father. Remember that episode where Gumball is continuously shitting on him at school, and then we got this emotional scene that showcases their parallels in the past? That had no business being in this episode and was a real tearjerker. It was also revealed that the reason he's such a dumbass and is so lazy was because his mother oversheltered him. It's actually quite a profound episode if you looked deeper into it. Then we have the side characters, and where to start with this one? Tobias is supposed to be the popular kid in school, but often gets his ass tossed in one way or another.
Accept our apology! Accept it! Forgive us! Look how sorry we are! Give us a hug!
In truth, he's the biggest loser. Banana Joe is one of the dumbest characters in the show, and has some real corkers.
Half a penny.
Okay, here's a penny.
I'm sorry, but the price is fixed. Half a penny.
Dude, half pennies don't exist.
Okay. You drive a hard bargain. You can have it for half a penny.
What the? I buy this painting with it. How much then?
$50.
All right, whatever.
You could have just given me 50 cents.
Why, you little?
Then you have Carrie, the emo ghost who isn't actually emo at all. I always enjoyed watching her episodes because they always had an extreme ending. There are a myriad of other side characters that get their episodes, and I'm not gonna list them all, but at least everyone has a likable aspect to them, except for this annoying ass fucking character.
It's lunchtime. Not in the mood for banana.
Who are your favorite characters from the show? Or how would you rank the main characters from best to worst? Let me know down below. Also, please leave a like and subscribe while you're down there. It would mean a lot. I make video essays like this every week. Let's get to the story of the Amazing World of Gumball. You see, the show just kind of is? Let me try and explain. We have the world of Elmore that is filled with these absurd characters doing absurd things. But then we start getting some background on them, like how Anais was a devil child when she was born, or how Darwin was a pet fish who grew legs because of the power of love. No, seriously, that's actually what happened. Even Nicole and Richard's episode, which explains how they met, was so heartwarming and sincere. Amazing World of Gumball is a show inside a television, not just in the literal sense, IRL, but also within the show itself, which leads me to the next section, the Metacommentary. Out of these three shows, The Amazing World of Gumball is the epitome of what a classic cartoon was. It's like Bugs Bunny meets Chowder meets Foster's Home meets The Simpsons. For one, characters do insanely illogical slapstick actions, characters break the fourth wall, Gumball turns Super Saiyan.
Let's go!
Come on, man. We both know this is just posturing.
Yeah, but I thought you might bite if I went big.
Darwin turns into a clicker from The Last of Us, and the biggest one, it's revealed in one episode that the entire world of Gumball is, in every sense of the word, inside a television. We get introduced to the Void. I have a whole video discussing this episode in length, you should check it out by clicking the I, but essentially, this episode aims to explain every weird art style change, every plot hole, and every character the writers forgot about in the show. The Void is a place where these inconsistencies go, calling it the world's mistakes. It becomes a looming threat in the background that the characters aren't aware of because they just keep losing their memory. It brought about the final boss of the show too, named Rob. He had some crazy episodes where he fucks with the main characters, even going so far as to break the entire show with this remote. He was a menace, and later it's revealed that he was, in fact, trying to save the world in the last episode, but failed. I haven't even mentioned how Gumball and Darwin comment on how their voices change every few years. It started as a proper two-parter where their voices break and eventually get replaced by much younger actors.
What was that? Dude, what's going on? I sound even younger than before.
But then in later seasons, it just kind of happens in a flash, showcasing brief static of a TV screen before it happens.
That'll teach them for trying to replace us.
Yeah, as if anyone else could do what I do.
Yeah, we're irreplaceable.
It's actually kinda eerie but hilarious at the same time. There was also an episode where the Wattersons lost all money they had, resulting in the world of Elmore breaking down, playing it off like the creators have lost all budget. At one point, they become storyboard notes. Yeah, Chowder did this ages ago, where the voice actors started a car wash to raise money. Go to show, by the way. And Phineas and Ferb, where the creators start describing the show at one point. Each of these shows did it in their own way, and the creativity and entertainment from doing these things never wavered. Oh yeah, there was also an episode in which they flamed a Chinese knockoff cartoon called Miracle Star. This is the kind of thing the show was never afraid to do, and it has to be praised for that. They were so ballsy that in one episode, Mario showed up.
Dude, this is my uncle.
Hey, it's me, Mario.
This show makes me think back to those insanely over-the-top cartoons like Tom and Jerry, where characters break the laws of physics. Out of the big three of the Cartoon Network shows I mentioned, this is the one you can watch any episode of without needing any prior knowledge of the story, despite having some ongoing plot elements. The comedy was elite, and personally, I find this show the funniest out of all of them. It's got some of the dumbest jokes you'll ever hear in a cartoon show.
Hey, I got a new high score! One criticism I have is that there's no female characters, but there's no male characters either, so it's okay, I guess.
Oh yeah, real quick side tangent, I want to briefly talk about the titular character Gumball. Sure, we all love him, but damn, this guy actually sucks. He's like Greg Heffley, the book one, not the movie version, but 1,000 times worse. Remember that episode where he tries to break Alan, the so-called saint of the show? So he sells his parents, tapes it, and shows it to him.
You're unhinged.
Don't get me wrong, I love that he's an asshole, and he rightfully gets flamed for it.
Hey, where are you going?
That was terrifying.
Yeah, well, at least your soul was going upwards.
Now, as I alluded to before, the show ended on a major cliffhanger. It's actually quite eerie how it ended, with the world seemingly being consumed by the void. I assumed this was just a meta explanation of how shows end, that eventually when a show, movie, or network comes to a close, you are met with just static. It ties back into that memory I'm sure every kid used to have. I remember falling asleep when watching Cartoon Network back in the day, and I'd wake up abruptly to see static on the TV before shutting it off. That's precisely what the ending was, but for a long time now, it was confirmed that Gumball was coming back for season 7, and a few days ago, it was finally revealed. The show is coming back with a new title, The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. The teaser was incredible, showing Gumball and Darwin waking up in their old and dusty house when they realize that they're late for school. 7 years too late. Perfection. I also love that it's coming back with a new name. The creators have said that this is the 7th season of the show, no question about that, but it just adds more hype to it. It should be treated like a revival. When Darwin said 7 years, I actually couldn't believe it's been that long. The question is, how are they going to continue it after the world ended at the end of season 6? Well, honestly, they're probably just not going to mention it. We saw at the end of season 2 when the Wattersons are bombarded with their past actions, only for it to end with credits and season 3 just opening up without even mentioning what happened prior. Or they could open it up with a quick 20-second intro where the ending of season 6 is reversed. If we take the original ending literally, the world ended because the show ended. Only static remained. Now that it's returning, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something meta, like having someone change the channel and stumble onto the new series. I wouldn't be all that pressed if there's a new opening too. That'd be kind of cool. So with all that being said, let's answer the question, why is The Amazing World of Gumball so special? It's a show full of lovable characters, over-the-top meta humor, and most importantly, genuine heart and soul. In many ways, it's the perfect example of a classic cartoon. Characters explode, they age in one episode, and they love referencing other franchises. It's one of the gems of Cartoon Network that has stood the test of time. While shows like Regular Show and Adventure Time had a complete ending, this quote-unquote revival is not something I'm stressed about. The show didn't have a complete ending, unlike the previous previous two, and it deserves one. My fear though is that they ended very similarly to the original. After all, it never took itself so seriously. The art style is so unique, blending 3D animations, custom 3D backgrounds, and 2D drawings with smooth, almost hand-drawn like animations, like old animated movies. Go watch the breakdowns of how they animate their episodes, by the way. It'll blow your mind the kind of work they put into the show. The Amazing World of Gumball is an incredible cartoon, and if you want to have a fun and a turn off your brain show to watch, a show that is very similar to the old Cartoon Network shows you used to watch when you were a kid, this is the one for you. Thanks for watching. I make videos like this about other cartoons, movies, and shows. I'll be covering the new show once it releases, so if that's something that interests you, please subscribe and leave a like. It really motivates me to continue doing videos like this. Check out my other cartoon videos here if you haven't already, and thanks for watching.